All right. I think I'm live. All right. Peace, power, and profit, everybody. Welcome to Urban Economic Empowerment Show. I'll be your host, Mo, today. Let me see. Let me make sure it's good on the YouTube. Make sure we rocking and rolling. I started a new channel, everybody, because it's going on Bro Garfield's side. Let me see what's going on the other side. I started a new channel because my other channel was hacked. And I don't know if it's going to pick up on there or not, but I hope that it does. I'm trying to get that right. Not hacked, but those little, what I call it little sexy folks kept coming on the page. And so the channel was not growing at all. I got stuck at 751. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to start this party all over again. So that's what I did. And that's why you probably see me in the chat with a new YouTube channel, and that's what happened. That's going on. So I try to just start it all over and see where we go. So tonight we got a very good show. This evening I'm going to be interviewing Chris Logyc and his company. But before I do that, I want to kind of do a summary of what happened on last Wednesday. So I'm trying to get back in the business manner again, live streaming, because a lot of individuals have been hitting me up about contracting. And one of the things I'm finding out, writing business plans or cost analysis, they're not really familiar with what's being asked. So we're kind of coming out of the era, I like to call it, of PPP and EIDL. That money has gone, it's been spent, or you didn't get it. Or in those who did get it, it was kind of like pushed them into the Hall of Fame, and then now they back to the little leagues. So now they're really having to prove their numbers to try to get lines of credit. So I'll say this, I'll start it off like this. So I was listening to a CPA, and he explained, so for those business owners out there who are wondering, like, why aren't they able to get either a line of credit or a business loan? It's probably because you receive the EID, you either receive the PPP and you have not gotten forgiven yet, or you receive the EIDL and you have not paid off the loan yet. And so the news in the air is that the government has first dibs. They open up UCCs on all the companies who have EIDL. And if it has not been paid back in full, they have first dibs on the funding. Therefore, the banks are reluctant to giving you money. And so one of the things the banks did during that time was that they used their reserve funds to fund businesses in hopes that they would get repaid by the government. But in order to get repaid by the government, the business owner had to either become forgiven 100%, or if they've been partially forgiven, they have to have paid it all back in order for the government to refund the bank. So therefore, some of their money is very low. And so if you have an outstanding loan out there with SBA, then 9 out of 10, you're not going to get a business loan. You might want to do your research on that. Some people are sadly disappointed, but that's how it goes. So if you've taken that funds and you thought it was, this is free money, I'll just take it and I'll go and spend it on pleasurable things versus using it as capital reserve in your business. Or maybe you use it to purchase assets in your business to further your business along. And then that's cool too, because it's going to help you make money in the business. That's fine. Just make sure whatever you receive that you pay it off before you go to the bank and try to get a loan. Because if you get denied and they don't tell you why, 9 out of 10, this is why. You still have an outstanding liability out there with the U.S. government, who takes precedent over any funds or collateral that you may have. You heard it here first. All right. So my objective over the next few weeks is to talk about knowing your numbers. I used to have a friend who used to say, the person that knows your numbers, the person that knows your money owns your money, and that person should be you. I'm finding out a lot of people who start businesses, whether they're freelancers, they're independent contractors, maybe they're doing call center work out there and they're contracting, they're getting 1099s, and they're sole proprietors, or they have started an LLC. they're doing Schedule C's or their LLC, and they're doing S Corp, or maybe they're a partnership. They have to know financial reports is like over their head. Even if you have an accountant, a tax preparer, you still should be, you still should be familiar with these reports. And so I talked about that last week. I encourage you to go back and look at that video. So this week, and I need to change some dates, but this is how I kind of wanted to run it. But I thought it fit that I'm just going to kind of work it all in. I want to talk about the target audience, but I'm going to run real quick and summarize what I did last week. And then I want to interview Chris, because Chris is doing a really good job in his business. And I think his audience, who he's targeting, I'll let him tell you all about that in a minute. So let's go forward. So these are the financial statements I talked about last week. I'm just going to mention them. I'm not going to go into details like I did last week. The balance sheet, the income statement, statement of cash flow, and the profit and loss. I showed how you could go to Google Spreadsheet. You can find a template already done if you're doing this stuff manually. I showed that if you were using QuickBooks, QuickBooks, or if you was using My Econ Cash Flow Manager, or maybe you're using Gusto, possibly what's it called, ePay, Paycheck. There's so many softwares out there that you can use that will help you get these statements. If you're using, so that when you connect your bank account or you link your bank account to these softwares or these apps, it will produce this for you. But you have to pay some money in order to make this happen, or you can do it manually on the spreadsheet. The choice is yours. Whatever you choose, just know that once you start requesting from financial institution or lenders loans, they're going to ask you for your financial statements. These are typically the ones that they are looking for. This is an example what a balance sheet looks like. You can Google it in Google and look at images, and you can see samples of balance sheets. It's just a matter of how you would like to set yours up. This is an example of an income statement. Kind of gives you samples of what it's looking for, or the data or dollar amounts that they're looking for. Where do they go? This is an example of a statement of cash flow. And here's a sample of a profit and loss. All of these can be seen in an actual Excel document. I'll show you one real quick on how to go and look for one. So if you were using Excel, right, you could put in the search box, you could put financial. You can put financial statements, you can put financial, you can put business, but nevertheless, you'll see all these different types of reports. There's an income statement here. You can just spell it out. You could do balance sheet. There's so much information that they give you or pre-prepare for you, and it makes it easy. And the calculations are already included. You just have to place your numbers there. Right, so you'll see samples of balance sheets, income statement, and you can put in profit and loss. So this is where you can go to get these financial statements. And you always go to any YouTube video. There's tutorials out there for everything, and you can walk yourself through and learn how to maneuver through these financial statements, because you need this information for business. I spoke about minutes. So at the beginning of the year, you should always do corporate minutes, or either twice a year. So this is semi-annual. So people would ask, at what time would a small business or a one-member owner do minutes? Well, you do corporate minutes anytime there's a significant event happening in your business, or you want to report some type of change. So for example, we know that everybody do income tax every year, whether you file it with your personal taxes with the Schedule C, or you do it standalone, right? So that would be one time at the beginning of the year. And I would always say probably semi-annually, or when something changes that affects your business. So the IRS This is the big change, and then we'll go into Chris. The IRS has changed the mileage rate for 2022. So the new mileage rate, not changed it, but they've updated it. So the first half of the year, from January to January 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2022, the mileage rate will be the 58.5 cents. The mileage rate from July 1st to December the 31st, 2022 would be 62.5 cents. So the mileage rate has gone up 4 cents. And this is for business travel. For medical and moving, which affects active duty military, it would be 22 cents. And that has gone up 4 cents, right? And then medical stays at 14 cents. All right. So those are two changes. So you can do corporate minutes and you can you can add that change into your minutes, and boom, you have it on file. Now, for those of you into government contracts, that's very important because they ask you that when you renew your certifications, where are your corporate minutes? They want to know that you keep it up and you understand what's going on in your business. You can also use it for trends. So when you're doing your financial statements and you notice, just like when we're investing and they do earnings reports, those corporate minutes, they are sharing with their shareholders the performances of the business. You should do the same thing in your business, right? Every quarter, update yourself quarterly on what's going on in your business. And yes, I do know a lot about government contracts. And so, boom, here it is on the IRS website. All right. So I want to make sure I share that. So that's a summary of what happened on last week. So now let's get into this week. So this week I want to talk about your target audience. There's many people that gets into business and they don't know their target audience, or they don't know how to make business work for themselves, right? They're either mimicking someone else because they thought it was a good idea, so they're trying to do it as well, or they think that the only way to have perks in their business is by just selling what they have. But there are so many ways that you can get perks back into your business. And so I chose Brother Chris Logyc for this interview because he has this unique way on how he maneuvers business. So starting from, I'm going to ask him a series of questions. So starting from, the type of business he's in to how he uses his investment vehicles or tools to aid his business. He's gonna get into all of that great stuff. And I'm sure you guys are gonna find it very beneficial, especially if you're a sneakerhead. So help me welcome Mr. Chris Logyc Woods.
Peace, God, profit, everybody. What's going on?
All right, so let's get straight into it, Chris. Tell us the name of your business and when do you start? And don't just tell us the name of your sneaker business. I want to know all the business that you're involved in and when did you get started?
Oh, okay. So let's start with the sneaker business. So I started my sneaker business, so to speak, actually last year, but I started collecting sneakers in 2020, like around May, because I thought okay, let me see what the sneaker game is about right now. And I happened to go to YouTube and I just typed in, something random like, new Jordans coming out or whatever. And I ran into this guy's channel named Unbreakable Kicks. He's actually from Chicago, so Brandon might know him. But I ran into his channel, and I was kind of listening to everything he was saying, and he kind of does a rundown on how you can, cop certain shoes, all of the latest sneakers. So, I kind of took that information and started using it to my own benefit. So that's how I kind of got started with that. Now, my econ, which is the premier, of everything. I started with Mo and Garfield's morning money show back in 2016, 2017. And that's also when I ran into or got in touch with Oba African Emporium. So all of this stuff kind of like came together, like, kind of like year after year and, so forth and so on. So that's the other side of the business. Now, I also am a part of a couple real estate projects and businesses as well. That's ground rooted here in Houston. And it's called like By the Block. And it's with a brother named Chris Senegal. So on a real estate side, that's, kind of like my background with that. And it's just something, like I said, it's just, I happened to stumble on and I was like, hey, this is some real estate stuff. Let me kind of learn about this and see what this is about and kind of, branch myself into, different assets. Because originally I started with crypto. Crypto was the first thing I invested in because of a guy I knew. And, he kind of like pushed me into all of these different, crypto Ponzi schemes with Bitcoin and, all of that stuff. And I also learned Forex too at the same time. So those were like the first couple skills that I kind of learned. But, here I am today. So those are kind of like, a few of the businesses that I'm involved in, 24/7. This is all I think about. This is all I do, on top of my, my personal stuff.
Let's talk about the sneakers business.
Okay.
What was one of your objectives for that business?
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? I started out with like a consumer mindset. Like as a kid, I was a big Michael Jordan fan. Fortunately, I grew up, in a family where they bought those type of stuffs on a daily. So, my big cousin, he had all the connects. He had all the connects with the shoes. And so every Jordan that would come out, I would be privy to getting because, he had the love for shoes as as a young adult then. And, it just kind of made me think like, I haven't been away from the sneaker game for a long time. So, let me get back in, see what it's about and, see where it goes, basically.
Right. So talk about how do you promote this particular company?
As far as the sneakers?
Yes. What makes it successful? How do you?
Oh, well, I forgot another part of the business that, I'm a part of. And, that's on the investor side of the house. So I'm a stickler for Stash app and Acorns apps to, spend my money as a consumer turned investor.
Uh-oh, we lost you. Uh-oh. Chris? Hello?
I think it's his Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. What's up, Sonny? How are you?
I'm great. I'm listening to nothing but knowledge right now.
All right. So
Sneakers and, streaming services and all of this other stuff is that, it's an investor's mindset first. It starts mentally. So, yeah, I'm spending my money, on some of the top shoes, that's out here on the market. But I know if I'm using these programs, where these retailers are giving you like 44% invested if you, shop with this link, or 5% invested if you shop with this link or with this store. I don't see why I wouldn't do that. That's just a open, opportunity for me to make more money, on my consumerism as an investor than, having my regular bank account and, they just taking the money and I'm really not getting anything back besides, an emotional feeling like, okay, I got these shoes and I can't wait to wear them. Or I got this new jogging suit and I can't wait to wear it. And for me, it's never really been personal about like, okay, I'm going to get every Jordan that comes out and, I'm going to put them on feet. That wasn't my mindset. My mindset was, okay, I like this shoe. I might keep it or I might sell it. It depends on how I feel. But as I went down the line, I'm like, okay, these shoes got a little demand. And shout out to AE for this because, he helped me start seeing how the market is, even with stocks, and other assets. So I'm looking at Jordan sneakers and they got a whole program or a whole system based off the same thing where like a Jordan sneaker is performing better than the S&P 500 in a year's time. So I'm like, well, hey, if I just buy this shoe, this hot shoe that everybody wants, that everybody can't get, and hold on to it, and the value increases over time, and then I can sell it at any time and profit, 2 to 3, 400, 5%, why not? I mean, I do that with a stock. Why I can't do it with this shoe? Especially when you have people who didn't get the shoe beating your inbox down, asking how much. Why wouldn't you, see that as an opportunity and capitalize on it? It's kind of like art. So for instance, let's take it away from shoes for a second. Let's say, okay, I got my Stash debit card. Let's say I go to Tesla right now and I buy a Tesla Model S. And I say I got $50,000 on my Stash card. Guess what? I can take that 50 grand that the Tesla Model S is going to cost, or whatever the cost is, because, inflation crazy right now. Pay for it with my debit card, Stash debit card. That will be crazy that I get some Tesla stock back at a Tesla store buying a Tesla car, opposed to, doing payments and, credit card swiping and, all of this other stuff. We're just putting, cash down. You get nothing. You get nothing from that. But if I can get, 0.89%, stock back off a purchase that goes directly into the stock market, why would you not take that? As you've been a consumer, you've never had money, you've never had wealth, you never owned a company, let alone a top 500 company. So you don't understand what it feels like being a shareholder or being in a new environment where you are with this certain group of people who are like the upper echelons of people in this society or in this world that owns an asset. Because anybody can go to the car lot and buy a car, just, be done with it. But if I get something in return, like a top 500 company, like a Tesla, or maybe even an Apple or an Amazon, and you say, hey, I just got, I just earned some stock, by just swiping my card, at the Apple store. Not even the store, online. Just say you shopping online. I mean, how many people can say that? You got these Amex cards, American Express, Discover, and all these different type of cards, Black Card, and all of this. That's cool. They give you their perks. We ain't knocking that. That's cool. But can that card give you access to billions and trillions of dollars being poured in to where the top 1% has their money at in these companies? No. That's how it comes down to me.
So you use, so let me reiterate. So you
Can't
use,
hear you, Mo.
so this,
Oh,
you can't,
shoot.
you
Oh.
can't hear me?
No, for some reason my microphone was on low. Okay.
So you use, so the money you use to buy these sneakers on the screen, you place it on your stash card, and your stash card is possibly connected to your Acorn, and you go to the Nike store and make the purchase, and you get the cash back on Acorn and stash.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Let me sign into mine so we can see. And you, as we can see, there's many stores just based off of here. So really, you're doing two business. You're basically doing three things at one time. You purchase your business. You are investing because the stock back that you receive from the purchase goes into your Acorn investment account, as well as your stash investment account.
Right. Now, hold on. What Brandon talking about? Can you say that again?
Oh, you want me to say it again? You said what I said, Brandon?
Yes. Can you say that one part again? As far as the stash going into Acorns.
Right. So he has a stash debit card, right? He has an Acorn one as well. But the stash debit card, he will link to the Acorn account. So you know how you can link your account, your cards to those Finra accounts? You link the card to there. So when you purchase from Nike, you're buying it using your stash card, but you're logging on to Nike through your Acorn account. Does that make sense?
Right. So yeah, because what Acorns has is called found money, right?
Right. Let me
yeah. So
go ahead, talk about it. I'm gonna mine.
Okay. Yeah. So when you go to found money, normally they will show you, different retailers and how much percentage you can earn on by shopping, right? So all you would do is click on that retailer or search the retailer you're looking for, click on it, sign it to your account. And from the time you sign in, you taking advantage of, whatever percentage they're giving you invested into your account. So whatever you spend, 5% of that, or 4%, or 3%, or whatever the case, of that money is going to go into your account, your Acorns account, that is. And not only that, so when you go to like Nike and you shopping and, you buying some socks, you buying some Nike Air Max, they won't necessarily let you buy like, top Jordans, but, some Jordan shoes you can get. But like, the classic Jordans, they ain't letting you do that. But either way, you go on there, you buy you some work shoes, or you buy you some slides for the summer or whatever the case, you capitalize on that, through Acorns. You paying with your stash card, so you getting Nike stock back. And there you go, trifecta.
Right. So this is what he was talking about right here.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
Once you get on, let's do. You can look. You can see everywhere that you can go and you can shop from. And the beauty of this, some people are already shopping at these stores. So really, it's twofold. It's e-commerce both ways, through the sneaker game, through his through the actual company, right? But then it's also through. So I get my Nikes. I come to my Acorn app, and I go here. So you get 3% back to Nike, and it'll say shop Nike. Now, mind you, your stash card is in your you have to go here in your settings and set it up. So I don't want to open mine because I don't need nobody hacking into my account. But when you go into your settings, you link your stash card, your stock back debit card, right? So once you log in, You log in through Nike. So sometimes people get confused and they'll go straight to the Nike website and you think you get the credit through your Acorn or your Stash. You can't do it that way. You have to log in your Acorn account or your Stash account and then go to that store. And then you would sign in, using your account. But it will all log to that one, to that
Right.
Acorn account. It makes
Right.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
Brandon?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So let me put here so we can see what took Chris. So these are the only Jordans that they have available right now, just through Acorn. So as he was saying, you may not see those particular sneakers or the classics or,
Yeah, because Nike has two apps. The regular Nike app, and then you have Sneakers app. Sneakers app is where they drop, the hottest Jordans.
Right. So is sneaker app on the Acorn?
No, that's not on Acorns.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately not. However, I still take the money regardless.
Right. Get it how you live. And you'd be surprised who might like some of these sneakers.
Right, exactly.
So that's one way. Another, and so Nike it's one of the companies that you can use. Of course, there's plenty companies on here. When I first joined my econ, Walmart was my favorite because you got, I think in my econ, I think you used to get like 3 or 5% from Walmart. So I used to kill it on travel and Priceline. Oh man, I had to go through there to book my flights because I got really cheap deals, right? But many people are shopping already using a lot of these sites for purchase. So this definitely one. Uber Eats, who a lot of people are ordering from Uber Eats. I think Grubhub is on here. I mean, and sometimes people will say, now this is just from the website. Now you can also use your card. You can use it to go into the stores. Anywhere you shop, you swipe that card. Guess what? You're gonna get that little email. Let me see if I can screenshot it because I have done it. I just did it. I just went somewhere and I had screenshotted the notification. You get the notification on your phone and it lets you know, hey, you just got stock back by using whatever particular company that you went to, right? And so it all goes back in. And you would think those are fractional shares. And and I wouldn't despise the small amounts because think about it. You're not getting anything when you swipe that debit card.
Right.
So any dollar amount matters. Any dollar amount matters. All right. So that's one aspect of it. That's very beneficial. Also, if you're having a hard time getting a bank account, you think the debit card is a good idea, Chris?
Absolutely.
Having a hard time getting a bank account? Boom. Start your investment account. As Brett African Emporium always say, I ain't see nobody giving you an interview. Get this Stash card or this Acorn card or Robinhood or M1, any of them, right? So, Chris, if you would like to discuss in reference to your sneaker business, from the time you started, what will you say you started in 2022?
2021. I was last year.
2021. So from inception, from the time you started your sneaker business to now, how have you grown, or have you grown at all?
Oh, I've grown exponentially. So, well, I would say 2020 is when I unofficially started, but just using just using the fact that okay, I don't want these shoes. Let me see how much they're going for and sell them. So I kind of what happened?
I was going to ask what size what men's size sells the most, and what women's size sells the most?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I don't know what particular size sells the most. I would say bigger sizes are more in demand because normally you can get more money for them. Because so like for men, it's like a 10 through like 13 or 14. Those normally sell the most, and go for the most prices, for higher prices, I should say.
You have a question? Oh, go ahead.
Who was that?
You have a question in the chat from the great. He said, "Do you use bots to get the sneakers from Sneaker app?"
What do I use spots to get the sneakers?
Yeah, the shoes from Sneaker app.
As far as just to get on them, yeah, I use different places. So JD Sports, Finish Line, Dick's Sporting Goods, Foot Locker, Champ Sports, Shoe Palace, whatever sneaker retailers is in your area. You use their applications, and some of them have reward systems, kind of like Foot Locker. Foot Locker actually has a reward system to where you can enter the raffles, for 40 sneakers, and the more you spend, the more points you have, the better your chance of winning, and basically securing that pair, every time it drops.
Wait, slow down. Talk
Okay.
about the rewards again. So okay, so when they be offering you the rewards card at the counter, it's good to get the rewards card because you can use the rewards card to purchase sneakers. Is that what you said?
No. So
everything
is basically through the apps now. So I'll start with like JD Sports and Finish Line. So with them, they implemented a new system last year, which is called exclusive access. Because before they used to do just raffles. They used to raffle, the people names who entered. And if you got selected, they will let you know on the app to, redeem your selection, and you come into the store and basically you secure your shoe. But then they changed that up to make it more fair. So, for, their shoppers, that spend the most, called exclusive access. So, and all of this stuff is kind of janky. They got bugs on their apps and stuff that they need to fix. But basically what exclusive access is that, it's bot free, because I'll get into botting later. But basically, they reserve a pair for you to secure. And how you do that is that you have to collect 5,000 points within a year to, have the perks of getting exclusive access. Now, lately they've been, more open to, new customers and allowing them, to take part of this as well. But that's basically how it's been. You get exclusive access, you get points. You need to at least have 5,000 points to have like gold status or A-list status, and you get it for a year. And that just basically shows that, you basically are like a committed customer and you spend a lot with the company, so they reward you with certain perks. Now that goes for JD Sports and Finish Line. And with Foot Locker, Champ Sports, and all the subsidiaries, they do something, what they call FLX rewards, to where, you earn points when you spend. And I think back in 2020, early 2021, they also kind of changed their system as well, to where, once you got, in the beginning, it was like, once you had like at least a minimum of like 500,000 points, you basically hit on every sneaker, that dropped. And, later on down the road, they started changing it because, a lot of new customers and, other customers that didn't have that many points weren't really getting the opportunity to win, on the raffle reservations. So they kind of opened it up for everybody. So now anybody can win, but they still, reward, their customers that, have a lot of points. Like right now I have like over 1 million points.
Wow.
And yeah, so I dang near, hit on every shoe that drops. So
y'all better hit Chris up.
So yeah, I mean, and all of this stuff, takes time. You can kind of, rig the system a little bit. You buy socks and t-shirts and crap like that to build your points up, or you can just buy Jordans, and if you don't want the shoe, you sell it. But the market that we're in now, I'll get into that later. But you try to accumulate as most points as you can. That way, if you do have a sneaker business, you can have a better shot at, basically guaranteeing yourself a pair, because you done put in the footwork, you done spent the money to, achieve this level on these, apps to where you can basically guarantee yourself a pair. So, if you do have a sneaker business, that's another way for you to get some inventory outside of, networking with other people and, trying to get plugged in like that.
Right.
Okay. Oba asks, what is a sneaker bot? All right. A sneaker bot, basically, they bypass all of the stuff that, normal people like us manually have to do. So instead of typing in passwords, and selecting the captchas and all of that, the bots bypass all of that stuff because, the people who are designing these bots design them to go around that. So that's a part of that artificial technology, that intelligence of, bypassing, whatever it takes a manual user, how much every time it takes a manual user to log in, to try to add a shoe to the cart and all those things, the bot does it so quick and so faster. By the time you get ready to check out and select your shoe and pay, the bot has already carted 5 to 10 pairs compared to your one. So that's how significant a bot is. And that's, those bots are giving, retailers some hell because they haven't found a way to completely stop it yet. So, the harder they try, the more smart the people make the bots. So, and, I kind of like the competition between the two because, the little man over here is trying to take advantage of, the big bank Hanks. Hey, we're tired of not hitting shoes on sneakers app. So we're going to design a bot, to where we can get through all of your protection, and secure these pairs. But I also understand it on the other side too, because everybody don't get these shoes. And it's emotionally draining to them because people really want these shoes, but you have a lot of people, resellers out here, they want the shoe to resell to make money. And, they don't care about putting the shoe on feet. They're trying to make $1. So I get both sides. So a sneaker bot essentially is there to, bypass everything a human has to go through and do it easier and faster. And it's gotten so good now. They doing it on Target, they doing it on Walmart, Best Buy, and soon it's gonna be on everything. So yeah.
So what's your profit margin looking like?
Oh, so this year I'm already at 12 grand. 12 grand. April was a rough month because
12 grand. Oh, profit?
Yeah, 12 grand in sneaker sales. Yeah, and in profit, yes.
Dang.
And it could have been more, but as I was talking to Oba AE yesterday, Nike is having a lot of supply chain issues. So a lot of the shoes are getting pushed back. I mean, the dates are changing as to why, April was such a horrible month for shoes. And they're not organized when it comes to this stuff. And I get it. But, as a business, as a sneaker selling business, it's kind of hard, trying to project your sales for the year when you got stuff like that happening. And since I'm new, what I'm saying, a lot of this stuff is unexpected and I'm learning on the fly. So at this point, with everything that's going on, I don't really have a goal this year as far as how much money I'm going to make, because the market has dried up so much, just like how stocks have been crashing and other assets been going down in price. So have a lot of shoes, and so have people's pockets on wanting to spend $300 to $400 on a shoe after it drops already and they didn't get the chance to get it. So, because I got, 4 pair of shoes right here, right now, that, these shoes are hot. If this had been 6 months ago, these shoes would have been gone if I sold them. But people are, inflation is making people, keep money in their pockets.
Let me ask you, I'm strolling through your, and man, wait, a great wealth of knowledge, greatly appreciated. Thank you, Brother African Emporium, for answering questions in the chat and posting the knowledge in the chat. Greatly appreciated. Let me ask you, it's 2 things I want to ask. I'm going to ask them first. Okay, so when you posted your sneakers on Facebook, and like this one as January 7th, 2023, is this the date that the sneaker gonna come out? And so they would prepay at the $200 amount now and get it in January? How does that work?
No, so that is what Nike projects as the release date, barring any, supply chain issues. So the actual release date of the shoe, and that is the retail price for the shoe. If you wanted this shoe from me, you would not pay $200. You would pay the market price, what the shoe is actually going for right now, even though it's technically not out. And I wouldn't even take your order because the shoe is so far away from dropping. You would have to have ultimate trust in me for you to pay me. And to be honest, at this point, I would not take your money because too many shoes are being pushed back. Dates are changing. It's just not a guarantee that, this shoe is going to come out on its date. It's just a projected date that is supposed to come.
So when you post the sneakers on the site, these are just pretty much enticing, letting people know. Okay, so this one, November the 5th. So this is saying, hey, this is the sneaker that's going to come out November the 5th.
Yeah, it's just giving you like, it's just giving you like a first look at how the shoe is going to look. Basically the mock-up version of it. And this is kind of what you will see when a shoe actually comes out. Now, it could change depending on how far the date is away from where we are now. Now, this shoe in particular, the Fire Red Jordan 9, this is November. This is going into July, August, September, October. So it's 4 months away. It still could change, but, this is more of a sure shot than something that's in 2023. Because like I said, with everything that's going on, COVID basically has made the Nike business and model unstable and chaotic to where you cannot predict, where, if this shoe is going to drop this day or not. Because they literally just moved 3 or 4 shoes back in date just within the last 2 weeks. So there's no guarantee that, that's going to be the date for the future. It's just where it is now. The business is all over the place right now. So these are basically just, to get your eyes to see what the shoe will possibly look like, to basically captivate you. Here's the idea what the shoe is going to look like, barring no changes or anything like that. This is what you have to look forward to. And it also gives you a price. So Nike has been raising prices on certain shoes. A shoe that dropped last year is not the same price as a shoe that drops this year, barring inflation. So, yeah, and this is okay. No. Yeah, and this is just, it's like a sneaker calendar. let you know this shoe drops this date. So if you want this shoe, just be on the lookout, and be ready. And there are pairs out here because I know some people that are connected to Nike itself. So they do get these, early mock-up and views of these shoes because it's the sneaker community is kind of locked together. This is why, I try to plug myself in with different people and I try to add to what's already there coming from the economic side. I think that's where I'm different than most people or most sneakerheads, I would say, YouTubers and all of that.
I think I've never been really into sneakers. But yeah,
Understandable.
I have purchased a few lately.
Okay.
I have I don't have any Jordans.
Blasphemy.
I
I'm just playing.
It's a perfect time, Chris. It's
Right.
perfect time. Get up.
But I do plan to support Chris' business in the future. Because I was like, I think I might try to wear some of this, but I've never been. I don't know. I don't know. I just never purchased any. I'm probably cheap. That's probably what it is. But I've never never purchased. But the more I look at them on Chris's page, I'm like, oh, they're kind of cute. I mean, if I can own a pair.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
A
as
pair.
you're scrolling right now, you can see, some of the pictures, where, you got the Foot Locker confirming your reservations.
Yeah.
You got the JD Sports and Finish Line, basically saying confirm your pair. And, it just tells you what shoe it is, the price, and when you got to pick it up.
Now, let me ask. Okay, so let me switch this up a little bit.
Okay.
Because you got a nice little profit margin going, and I have some people that kind of don't know how to make a profit. So I'm really proud of you in that aspect. On making a profit. Markup. How important is it for you to have a markup? And do you include, because you have to ship these, right? Or when you order, you have the person's address to ship to. So you have the price of the sneaker, you have your shipping, you have taxes, and you have company markup, right? And I'm sure in your company markup you pay yourself. Am I?
Absolutely. So with that, so for instance, let's take the shoe, the Jordan 12 playoff. That was a $210 shoe at retail price. I had a customer, he bought shoes from me before, and he's in city, so he's local, but he still requires me to ship the shoes. He don't want to meet up. That's fine. So he paid $275 for the shoe, and it cost me $13 to ship it. Even though it's in city, I think it's still kind of expensive, but whatever. So I profited, minus, the shipping fee. That's what, 65 minus 13. So that's what, $52. So I profit $52 off of that.
Wait, run it back again. So you paid?
Yeah, so I paid $210 for the shoe retail.
$210.
And I sold them to him for $275.
Oh, that's not bad.
And shipping was $13. So I take that back. I profited $62.
Right, because when you add.
Now here's the important thing with my business. Me paying myself, that money goes somewhere in some stock. It doesn't even matter. I'm not paying myself, so to speak. My money is going to, my future. I don't care about the money right now. I don't need it. I can make it up any other place. If I need the money, I know what to do to get it. Now, this is where, the trading comes in. That $62 can go on a Tesla call or, Apple or whatever. I have ultimate say on what, I pay myself. Because to me, I'm paying myself by buying stock or whatever.
Right.
I don't necessarily have to put that into my bank account and spend it. That's what I got my other little gigs and whatever I do.
So are you saying that your profits are in your investment account, which is being that you put it in your investments account, then they're untaxed right now.
Correct.
Smart move.
So, that $62, is untaxed, and it basically just transferred from him to me to my investment account to Nike, Apple, Tesla, or whatever the case, or even gold or silver. So
let me ask you, how about approximately, or just a guess, or just the estimated amount of sneakers you sold in 2021 and 2022 thus far? So if you had to do, you probably haven't thought about this, but if you had to think about it and you had to do a quarterly analysis, your first quarter, 2020, your fourth quarter, or just any quarter, what in the world? We got another earthquake?
Oh boy.
The whole house shaking, y'all.
Oh my God.
Again, this like the third one.
God, dog, climate change. Shoot. That's crazy.
This is the third earthquake in Carolina.
You better be safe. My
whole house shook.
Get underneath the table.
Huh?
Better get underneath the table.
It's probably hitting about an hour and some change away.
Oh, okay.
It's hitting on Elgin side. On Lugoff Elgin side.
Yeah.
At a house in Lugoff.
Yeah.
Yes, and
that's crazy.
South of Columbia down there going north of Columbia, excuse me, going up.
Yep. I said
20.
3.3. Go ahead, E. I'm sorry.
No, I was just kind of adding to that. It's weird too, because we just think about I know we kind of off topic with that. Just happens sporadic with your situation, but those fault lines, like Overcrest was saying, with all this, it's kind of warming and all, whatever, it's getting weird out there. Places even like South Carolina, and you think about it geologically, how many fault lines actually run close to South Carolina region, right? If not, you're getting that reverberation where it's starting to, happen out parts of Atlantic up into the low country, right? Yeah. Along with having to deal with the hurricanes that are bad along that eastern quarter down there, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Now you got to possibly even deal with earthquakes now, which is crazy, right? Sidebar, of course, but of course, the topic of the day, long as Sister Monica say, right, that's all that matters. But definitely interesting when you think about that, from a climate perspective, right? Maybe we get the science guys in here, right? Get Brother Unc them in here to kind of get them books dust off and find out primary source of what them fault lines may look like.
Right. Wow. This has been the largest in 9 years or whatever it is. Then.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I didn't even know they had earthquakes in South Carolina.
Yeah, we had one a couple of days ago. Here we go with another one.
Oh, that's wow. Wow.
And at wee hours of the morning, this one just happened during the day. So my bad, Chris.
No, good. You good?
Yeah, I was tripping because the whole house started shaking. I'm like, wait a minute.
We're kind of redefines the ideal of what we think about low country, right? Low country is supposed to be basically, we're talking about, at point of near sea level, right? When you think about like above sea level, this etc. Like up until Denver Mile High, right? When it's like a mile, up, in terms of from a geological perspective, right, where the air stand, in terms of those scenarios being affected as far as this area, it's it's just odd to think about that, right? An earthquake in low country already at sea level, when you have to deal with, the ideal of flooding, et cetera, if that ever became a scenario where you look at, like the Euro-Pacific area, or I should say the Polynesian islands, right, that suffer a lot of the tsunamis, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're at sea level, of course, right? So if they have any abnormal fault line value where they get a earthquake, it instantly uprises the sea and it floods out their entire cities, right? So it's weird to think about that. Of course, we don't want that to happen. Woosah, right? But that could be, just thinking about that. Like, if we get to that level, that'll be odd to think now that South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia could deal with possibility of something like a tsunami, if you will, right? Odd to think, but hey, we don't know. There's some weird stuff out there. So we won't put on our 10-4 Koofy hat because we don't want Sean them coming for us. Right, but that HARP program might be working pretty nice down there with all the military bases, right?
Yeah. So back to our regular scheduled program. Yeah, Chris, that was my last question. I was wondering, how, if you kind of had an idea of your numbers inventory wise. What did you move? Obviously, you did move more in 2021 because, of course, it'd be a full year. Mm-hmm. But given last year and this year where we are now, and I think you said it earlier, we talked about a little bit about estimated profits on where you are due to what's going on in the world because of the people's pockets. But I was interested in people always find a way to spend some money.
Yeah, they do. But now, seeing it in real time, people are really penny pinching. And also, Nike is doing something very clever. They are dropping these shoes, certain shoes, more and more, and they kind of like drowning out the resale market, because basically a lot of the shoes that were going for $400 or $500 like last year in 2020, they're actually down in price to like the middle to high 300s. So the reseller market is drying up. But also, if you have customers, you actually could lock in. But I would guarantee the four pair of shoes that I have right here beside me, those shoes would have been gone 6 months ago.
I'm gonna stop sharing. You want to share the screen to show your sneaker?
Yeah, I can share my screen. No doubt. These shoes are gone 6 months ago. Let's see. Okay. Start broadcast. Okay. Y'all see?
Yeah, it's coming. What'd you do? It just say and the screen. I think you gotta move from the Zoom. Now there we go. All right, yep.
What are you seeing?
Your screen, your home screen with your apps.
So how do I share like?
Oh, your camera.
I was about to say use your camera.
Yeah, take it off your screen and just use your camera. There you go.
Okay, yeah. So like this shoe right here. This shoe right here is going, for close to $500, right? Nice shoe, came out last year, white Oreo. Now, if I had sold this shoe 6 months ago, it's gone. Now, people asking for discounts. Can you sell it to me lower? And all this other stuff.
Okay.
This is the Jordan 4 Red Thunder. This came out in January, right? If Brandon is a Chicago Bull fan, he knows these colors very well.
All day.
And those are $500.
Now these are about $340, is $350, close to $400. And these are the Jordan 4 Lightnings. And these are about a $350 shoe.
What size are those?
12. Now, me personally, I could keep these, right? But I like money and stocks more than shoes. So these are the Jordan 4 military black. And these are, about a $350, $400 shoe as well. But, I like money and stocks more than, other assets, more than shoes. They look nice, but I would sell them in a heartbeat, which is what I'm trying to do now. Because, this is my first, so-called recession to where I can capitalize on it. So, I don't need these shoes.
This bad boy hit near Lexington. Oh, go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Oh, you good? I know that's wild over there right now. But, I don't need these shoes. I'd rather have the money, patiently waiting, stealthing like a lion. And when it's time to buy up, I get rich. That's how I think. So,
hey Chris, I got a question for you. Do you do any type of promotions with your shoes, or are you doing like any collective sales or anything like that?
I'm glad you asked, because a guy asked me, could he buy all 4 pairs, for a certain price? And I told him, yeah.
Okay.
So basically I'm taking $50 off of each shoe. So these 4 pairs together is $1,400. $1,400 or $1,500. And I told him, listen, if you give me $1,375, you can have all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot of money to drop on 4 pairs. So you really got to gauge people, because right now, like I said, everybody penny pinching, and they don't really want to pay what these are worth. So if they don't want to pay, I'm okay. I'll hold on to them. That's fine. I'll wait till, everything blows over, and then you're going to come back and be like, hey, I need these, man. Because these shoes are not dropping anymore. That's the thing. So when it comes down to a consumer, do you really want this shoe? Can you really live without it? That's how you know if you're going to spend or not. I don't care about these shoes like that. I don't care about wearing them. I will, but I don't care to. That's why I say I'm really a sneaker collector and investor more than I am a consumer. I will buy this shoe, hold on to it, and then sell it. That's a profit for me in my investing prowess. But am I buying this shoe? But oh yeah, I got me another pair. I'm gonna put these on feet and go do whatever I do. No, I don't care about that. I really don't. It's, to be honest, it's really 3 or 4 pair of shoes that I have not worn that I really do like, that I am keeping because I like the shoe. The rest of them, they can go. No doubt. So yeah, I do buy shoes to sell them, and then I do buy shoes that I do like. Because, I like what I like. And if I can afford it, I'm gonna buy it. But, do I need it? Nah. I can sell these. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is the prime opportunity to try to sell it. Now, I wish I kind of sold it before, because I'm like learning all of this stuff is new to me. I'm like learning on the run, basically.
Let me ask you.
Hmm?
Let me ask you. You say you're learning on the run. Do you document like these time frames of, you know, what's going on and what's making a difference in your business?
Absolutely. Like I said, April was the worst month I ever had selling the shoe, because like I said, Nike was so bad with their dates, and the shoes that they dropped is like they purposely didn't want resellers to make money, because April was trash for Jordan shoes, ultimately trash. Now, man, I think the market was trash, period, for all shoes, because there was nothing really that was out there to sell that dropped. So, you know, looking at this is why I'm different than other sneakerheads. I made a video about this. I look at the macro and the micro economy. Other sneakerheads don't know what I know about this stuff like that. I know when, you know, people, like I said, they penny pinching now, and how Nike, you know, dropping the same shoes, dropping, you know, millions of the same pairs, like watering down the shoe, making it go below retail to where a reseller can't make no money. You know, I pay attention to stuff like that. Other people, you know, they probably see it, but they don't know, you know, I know how, you know, Nike business model is just being affected by, you know, COVID, then the recession, then inflation, and all this other stuff. You know, people can say that inflation word. Everybody been saying inflation, 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 but they don't understand what inflation means. It's not just, you know, prices going up. It's a lot more to that. You know, this country, you know, makes all the goods and makes all the goods. Then you gotta pay for those goods. Then your factories getting affected, those workers getting affected. Then you got to get them over here to the States. Then you got to pay them prices that they put on transportation fees. Then you got to get them over here. You got to pay the retailers that you shipping the shoes to. All of that stuff. You got to break that stuff down. Those numbers matter. And Nike, as we seen yesterday when Nike had earnings, you know, Asia was trash again, and Europe basically saved them, so to speak. But going forward, their guidance, we can expect more worse stuff to come. Inflation ain't going nowhere, and a recession is right around the corner if we're not already in it. Negative GDP today. Matter of fact, if we're talking about economics.
Good segue. Go ahead, AE.
Well, you know, I like to have stuff queued up. You know, I want to keep the flow going, because this is you know, for us, and for me personally, this hits home, right? Because again, y'all may or may not know, your brother actually had a retail business when I was in college, and weirdly so, it was named Pony's Footwear and Clothing. So I come from a background where clothing, shoes, the whole nine within that was a forte that I enjoyed as being a funnel or a facilitator to that of what my community, because of course we love those kind of products on average, right? As opposed to, I think one of the members in the chat asked a question, you know, I think it was our brother Kofi Brown. He asked a question where he made a statement, said, Dr. Amison Wilson told us to invest in our own business, right? And you know, within that perspective, when we say invest in our own business, well, we realize that the global markets, of course, are not necessarily, you know, masked in just a black, you know, manufacturing, you know, producer, distributor, whatever, et cetera, right? So we have, you know, brand values that we like that are not necessarily 100% produced by us from, you know, from the ground up. However, we can be that middleman or that middleman facilitator value or funnel to help, you know, direct a lot of our consumer base, of course, on a cultural side, to our businesses, right? In this case, you know, over Chris being a shoe collector, shoe aficionado in that regard, he's most well equipped to give that, you know, quote unquote cultural shopper a better experience, not just from the value, possibly them getting an exclusive, in use of the shoe or the sneaker that they're buying, but the education that comes along with it, right? And that's what's vital, because again, like he spoke to that, the missing piece for most Black businesses, if we want to be honest about it, where, we kind of get it swiped at when they say our customer service is not necessarily the best, right? Y'all have heard that before. It's not a secret. A lot of Black businesses do suffer a little bit in that perspective, right? We don't understand the connection between good customer service, good education of business product value, how that translates into what? A revolving customer, right? Or a new funnel client now that goes out and uses that word of mouth, experience to attract other people to come back and shop. You see what I'm saying? So in that regard, I think there's a lot to take from this, beyond the fact that, of course, he has, exorbitantly great inventory, like seriously crazy great inventory. It's the education that makes this larger than life, right? As we are speaking here on the Urban Economic Empowerment Show about financial literacy, you're seeing, beginning, mid stage, end result, right? And the level of information or the education that's, baked into the process in itself, that's what we're trying to really delineate here, right? Because it doesn't take a whole lot to, if you will, start a business if you have the right, model in place to help you get, from ground to, to go mode, so to speak, right? Utilizing the ability to level up, leverage up, and take advantage of boom and bust cycles in markets. Of course, on the retail side of things, when we're talking about exclusivity type of items, when you think about a company like a Coach or a Gucci or a Hermes or a Louis Vuitton, right? They have a special type of client, right? You don't go to them, with your pockets out of whack, right? The same way you don't pull up at a Bugatti dealership, worried about how much the price of gas is going to cost to fill it up, right? It's the same that comes along with a marketplace that's already set in place by a track record of having a certain type of clientele that knows what they're getting and what they're, having to come with to spend, right? So I just want to touch on a couple of things in relation to what you was doing, Sister Monica, and what Sister, Over Chris was speaking about in relation to that of, being able to facilitate that level of, if you would say a niche market, but it really isn't, because now we know that the sneaker collector game has now morphed into something much more greater and larger than it used to be, from a rarity like a Mitchell and Ness back in the days with a throwback jersey, right? It's much more bigger than that now, because it's a whole new other industry in itself. And a lot of people, again, when they speak to this stuff, or they, are trying to get people to see the extent of how it is such a collector's market at this point. And that goes with the value of some of the markups that come along with these sneakers. It's not like you just go in the Foot Locker, you're just gonna get some off the shelf and like, okay, yeah, you got luck, you got your size. But ultimately, when that shoe goes out of season, whatever, you kind of, stuck waiting for the next time to come around, or you have to go to other markets to find that, right? So collectors know that, right? And they know that there's always a moment when a person who may have not been able to get their size because of whatever reason. We spoke about the whole ideal of what the shoebox, right? How that happens, right? Over Chris broke that down, right? I posted some in the chat concerning that, how that also can alleviate a person from being able to get the shoe that they want, because time, right? Time is money. We speak about that a lot as an investors, right? That you have to be as we say, stay ready, so you don't have to worry about doing what? Getting ready, right? That happens to be a main value when it comes to retail side of things as well, collectible markets as well. You have to be ready, right? Your money and everything has to be in play. But within that, of course, like I said, I want to definitely speak to the education side of this, because I think that's very important. Because what Chris is really giving you guys, for a lot of people who understand or who may not understand, or who may have an idea of what he's saying, he's giving you a lot of on-the-ground intel on how you can start your own business too. And it may not just be sneakers. It could be, candles, T-shirts, whatever, trinkets. However, Sister Monica obviously has done a great job over the years showing you exactly how to put together such a business model, right? Or how to at least level it up, when you go through the levels of getting your LLC and utilizing, the value of being able to capture grants, if you will, to just do just that, right? So one thing definitely I want to touch to or speak to the ideal of, if I could here, it's the value of a funnel, right? What is a marketing funnel? Because over Chris, definitely, if you follow him, you'll know that he himself has been able to build his own funnel value outside of an outside agency. That's great in itself because he's utilizing what? These social media platforms, right? To in itself allow them to, to use their ad goals to also help populate what interest in this, in sneakers and shoes as well, by way of people being able to kind of, see his stuff pop up maybe in one of their feed values at some point, right? And so that's important as well, because if you think about business values, how well is your funnel value? That goes a lot into, again, how well you are able to present your item in front of a lot of people, right? And so there's a lot of different values when you think about this stuff, right? So you think about, awareness, consideration, conversion, value, loyalty, and advocacy. So he wants a revolving door of business. So of course, when you go down his list value in this, when you think about awareness, well, the extent of his awareness campaign, right? Because again, he utilized a lot of those social media values, right? The consideration aspect is based upon a lot of that, what's going on in around the market itself, right? Boom bust cycles, right? Are we in a low demand or high demand cycle right now, right? Are we, in this case, we're dealing with inflation. So he's weary of that. So he knows how to price what he have now within his inventory in a way where he still can capture profit, or he has the ability to sit on that inventory based upon the condition of the market. And then he'll know that at some point when we kind of get through a lot of that penny pinching, he's ready and poised to be able to make that level of conversion come into practice, because he has the inventory, right? He's ready to go, right? And then fourthly, we talk about the value of loyalty, right? That's the idea when I was talking about when you have that word of mouth client, right? These people who that are in this space, they know what they want, right? They already know they're coming to get something in their value that is exclusive, right? And it's a seasonal scenario, so to speak, right? You have to be on that cyclical train to be able to capture those shoes when they come out. If you miss out, you're out, unless you can find, again, some other portal to be able to facilitate that buy. So building a loyalty brand comes with having a good experience when you shop with Kroft Services and you buy a sneaker from him. What he gives you from the top level of his, funnel value with the awareness, consideration, conversion value, that builds your loyalty, right? Because you're getting education, you're getting a shoe that that's, what it is, everything gonna be legit, from top to bottom, not just the shoe, but we talk about the experience, right? Because he is a person that's, knowledgeable of his environment, right? His consumer environment. And then, like I say, lastly, the advocacy aspect to that, to me, is also like larger than life in itself. Why? Because that, again, provides that level of, respect to the marketplace as a whole, as the sneaker collectors, game has now morphed into a massive, massive industry here. We're going to look at a couple of those numbers, let people know this not no fluke, right? He's 100% right and exact when he's speaking to the idea that it's more than just, people standing in a long line out in frigid weather in Chicago in the middle of winter to buy some Jordans, right? Like those days, if you're still doing that, or those people on the lower tier bottom, right? Again, no swipe at them, but they're doing it all wrong, right? And they could be just trying to get it basically as close as they could at the most MSRP value as well. I mean, nothing wrong with that as well. But that's the struggle value of the sneaker game, right? I'm pretty sure he'll be able to speak to that, all right, when he go into that a little bit possibly. But there's other ways you can be able to get those sneakers in a way where, it separates you from having to go through all that. You may have to spend a little extra, but it's the same when people do white glove services when they go to move their items as opposed to just, two men in the truck, right? Yeah, good luck if you're trying to keep your furniture from getting all broke up or whatever, right? And you don't have insurance. So that's the experience as well that comes along with the consideration aspect within that funnel too, right? So that's important. So if you're running any kind of business, you want to keep that in mind, right? Whether you use an outside funnel service or you want to be able to build the level of funnel service on your own, or from a homogeneous perspective or organically, these are some things that you have to take into consideration. Right? Because customer service is literally, what helps you have retention in your business model, right? You want people to come back. They don't want to deal with an unruly person who really don't know what's going on and all that silliness that most people, Black people, show up with business and they think that just because they got an item, that's enough. And they wonder why their sales are suffering because, again, they don't understand, how to work, right, their market audience, right? By using good funnel techniques and so forth, or strategies, if you will, right? So that's just something I want to add to the value in that, because again, this is the value of what urban economic empowerment is, to get people to understand that he's telling you in a lot of ways just how you can also duplicate such a business model, right? That's that, they call it the silver lining. This is how you do that based upon a lot of the other stuff he's doing, right? And then again, just kind of using some of that stuff to kind of roadmap out exactly what we mean by that, right? The values of advocacy, loyalty value, awareness value, how he utilizes his business pages, right? And the majority of the stuff that's on there is dealing with what? Things that he's obviously influenced by, right? The things that he's excited about. So you're dealing with a person who's literally dress right, dress about business, right? As you see on his Instagram page, right? Top tier entrepreneur out the gate, you're dealing with a person who's serious about asset ownership, because he tells you exactly who he is, what he's about. So you go to do business with this guy, you're getting a person that's about that life, right? He's straightforward. It's not, I'm an investor, day trader, analyst, and then you come down here and start looking at a lot of the pictures, you start seeing a lot of off the wall beat stuff, right? It go everything except from what he's speaking about be, something totally different than that, right? So that tells you again a lot about what, where his interests are, right? And that's a level of, again, awareness to let you know you're dealing with a real businessman in that perspective, right? And that's important, again, just being able to kind of, share that value, right? And so second to that, again, just talking to the ideal of, the level of the complexity of this being a new multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Not hard to kind of realize at this point, right? We're talking about multi-billion-dollar industry. And it's just somewhat getting started, which is weird when you think about it, because you would say, man, people have been selling sneakers for so long, right? Foot Locker been selling, but the collector side of this stuff is just really beginning to take off, because truth be told, it didn't really catch that level of, in my opinion, momentum, let's say on the back end of maybe 2018, 2019 into 2020, especially when people sitting home during COVID, they began to do a lot of online searching for certain things, right? They got them stimmy check, but they were looking for them exclusive shoes, right? They were not buying ramen noodles, they were buying Jordans, right? Especially for a lot of the young folk, right? They were buying iPhones and Jordans. Well, how do we know that? Because we was able to track that data by the value, consumer values, right? Checking the BLS websites, checking these different consumer portals that shows you exactly what a lot of people are spending their money on when they got these stimulus checks, everything except bills for the most part. They were consuming items, right? And sneakers was one of those things that popped up as a big ticket item that a lot of people were buying with their stimulus checks. Let's go figure, right? So a lot of the sneakerheads really began to ramp up their exposure to get their shoes out in front of a lot of people, right? And from there, a lot of that, the boutique business owners like myself, I had a boutique business, whatever. The exclusive value of the shoes that were offered now demanded a bigger price, because they were hard to get, the exclusivity of them. That in itself is a whole nother different ball game. Now you're talking about shoes now that are worth, again, $10,000 a pair. Like the average person, like, I ain't gonna pay that, but guess what? There's a shopper out there who will, right? And that in itself is, great, because you're thinking about it. If you're able to demand or control inventory, and it's not to the point where it's kind of messing up any other investments and things like that, that means you're in a position of that at some point you can command price value, or we like to say you can get better margin on your sneakers by being patient in a marketplace that's obviously still growing and budding, despite we may be in inflationary times or somewhat of a small decline in terms of our boom bust cycle. It's going to come back around again, and those same sneakers going to be right there, ready to to be offered up for the for consumers, right? So that's very important. So again, just let you know, as they say, is no stopping the ideal of this business model that is really rapidly increasing as we kind of look out there in the landscape. Over Chris being within our base, if you will, right? As a Black business owner, well, how great is that? Why spend that time fighting Foot Locker, Hibbett, wherever, or some of the online portals, when you got a brother right in the exact that within a lot of you guys' circle, and can give you that kind of white glove experience, from education to the value of even a great product, right? So that's the importance of that. When you say we want to buy Black or shop Black, whatever, right? There you go, right? It should be non-negotiable when you think about that, right? I'll be buying my pair. I haven't bought Jordan in a long time, right? But when I go to buy a pair, you guess who I'm going? You definitely know I'm going to Over Chris, right? It's not even up for debate, right? So let's just keep that in mind when we talk about really shopping black, right? And second to that, again, third to that, excuse me, I want to just, again, keep kind of harping on the value of that. The demand for rare examples of iconic sneakers is pushing prices sky high. You know, just by him being in the game early, that sets him up for a level of success in that regard too, because again, we're talking about being able to build out a war chest the same way a person like a Warren Buffett would have an exclusive portfolio when it comes to real estate, right? The Berkshire Hathaway portfolio is deeper than just real estate. Of course, there's other stuff as well, business products, but their real estate portfolio is great because they're hand picking certain select homes, this, that, and the third. So, you know, you're getting a level of quality within that. Well, the sneaker game is the same way, right? Because there are only so many, right? It's kind of like exotic cars in a lot of ways, right? So if you have even some of the old ones that were maybe, coming off the value of some kind of pro athlete, whatever, if you're able to kind of command an opportunity to catch them at an auction, the resale to those things could be crazy, right? Taking that example, the 1985 pre-production sample of Nike's first shoe of the former NBA basketball player Michael Jordan, it sold at $560,000 in what year? 2020. During the middle of a pandemic. Who in the world buying a pair of Jordans in the middle of a pandemic for $560,000, $500,000? Well, somebody that was sitting at home that was in quarantine, surfing the internet all day. They had nothing to do because they couldn't really go outside and had some money somewhere sitting around, right? Yeah, that increased that opportunity just that much. And it only takes for that person to buy them shoe, now post them shoe potentially on their social media somewhere, say, yeah, I got these exclusive so-and-so shoe. You know, now you get that Jones effect. Now I want to, maybe I can find me something out there like that. Right? Again, y'all get it from that perspective, right? But that's what's interesting about this, because again, it's already self-advertised. It's already marketed just by way of the environment that it produces in itself. Air Yeezys, one prototype worn by Kanye West on stage in 2008, $1.8 million. Let that marinate for a moment, right? Couldn't make this stuff up, right? $1.8 million for a pair of shoes. Now, you know, the old folk be like, bro, look, I bet it better have a toilet with it, a gas pedal. It better have a self cooking stove that cook pot roast with it. If I'm gonna pay $1.8 million. But you guys understand, the people who are able to purchase these items, they're not complaining about the gas to go in the Bugatti once they buy the Bugatti. We clearly know there's a market that's made for that type of consumer. So again, he's being able to funnel those clients into his ecosystem, be that facilitator for them. As we all should now to look to over Chris when it comes to that level of sneaker value. If we have our own value, that we want to get out of that, you should definitely think twice about going to him to get what you need. If nothing else, even the education, right? Because he's an open door from that regard, right? So that's important. So again, you just look at some of these guys that, they got these little sneaker collections, whatever. I mean, it's just crazy, right? It in a good way, because we're talking about business, right? We're talking about resale. We're talking about being able to be that middleman or somewhat in that regard, right? So some of the most expensive shoes ever sold right there, $506,000 on the left, $1.8 million here on the right with Kanye, right? Right? It's awesome, right? When you think about it, right? But classic values of being able to be a part of this supply demand cycle as a business owner, right? And so when we talk about the extent of some of these sneakers can go for, and I'm pretty sure at some point, Chris may be planning for just to get his hands on one of them types like that, if not 2, 3 of them types, right? Because it's all working up towards to something great at some point. Of course that's his decision, but just think about that, right? Because he has a pipeline that he's building now, where he'll be to kind of facilitate himself into certain arenas that may offer him up the opportunity to be able to get such levels of sneakers that demand that level of price value. I mean, look at these right here. Sale of Nike Louis Vuitton shoes exceeded how much? $25 million.
And a part of that price is because the guy that made, as you can see, the air that's on the side of it in quotations, that's a name, that's a brand behind a black man named Virgil Abloh. He died last year, and he created the brand Off-White because he worked for Louis Vuitton.
Yep.
And anything with his name on it, basically that Off-White brand. I got 2 pairs of Off-White shoes. Those shoes are going to be worth so much in the future.
Just by sitting on them, right? In itself, because we're talking about aggregate value of appreciation, given the level of their exclusivity, right? I mean, you can think about it that way. It's like, man, that is rather unique in itself, right? But just being a person who's in the know space, that's what garners you that level of opportunity in itself as a collector who also, deals in the value of resale. As the saying goes, everything comes with a price, right? Everything has a price attached to it, right? Well, I'm buying these, they ain't gonna never sell them. I'm never gonna sell them, but guess what? Yeah, they could be sold, right? They could be sold, right? If the price is right, they'll definitely be sold, right? So again, we're talking about a massive level of opportunity here. If you're thinking to yourself, if someone willing to pay $25 million for a pair of sneakers, and the FOMO that comes along with somebody else who said, man, if I even had that kind of money, would I spend that kind of money on these shoes? If I'm a sneaker person, chances are they're going to be what? Somebody out there going to say what? Yep. See how that works? That's just a part of business. That's a part of resale. That's a part of, the ideal of you wanting to have something that others may or may not can get their hands on. It's a level of FOMO, fear of missing out, right? I used to use that tactic very well in my business when I was, running my little business when I was, going to school. And it worked really well. I used to just, we used to have, of course, our little football games on Saturday. I had got so good with the city, and a lot of the businesses at that time, right, within Statesboro. I mean, I used to do sneaker sales and clothing sales at literally, in this case, if you're familiar with Georgia Southern, it's a gas station right across the street from the stadium. That's very popular. Everybody knows that gas station called Parker's, right? I used to set up right there. I was the only one they ever allowed to be able to set up a pop-up business to sell retail clothes items right across from that Georgia Southern Stadium when it was packed, right? And that was during the time when Adrian Peterson was the running back for there. Not, there's 2 types of Adrian Peterson. I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about, but AP that played running back at Georgia Southern. But nonetheless, that's my story with that. But it's great because, again, you're talking about exposure, you're talking about the opportunity. It's just great. Now, just to show y'all that this stuff is, legit to the umpteenth degree, they are papers or citations or that of doctorates or that's that of or some kind of form of bodies of work that are speaking to the ideal of how important the sneaker resale business market has now took off at exorbitant levels. As you see here in this paper here by Roger Wu. Now, I don't know if this is a dissertation or not, but of course, the advisor to his paper was Professor Eric Auerbach, right? So this may have been his dissertation. Who knows, right? I haven't went deep into. I read just a little bit overview, but as you see, the right price for collectible sneakers, a predictive analysis on sneaker resale market. So this is next level. Northwestern University put together this this abstract value or this paper value, but when you read through his abstract, you see exactly what we're talking about here today. The market of collectible sneakers have grown dramatically within the digitalization of American society. Sneakers that are designed by world famous celebrities and limited in quantity are highly sought after by fervent collectors, thus have become investment opportunities. That right there, investment opportunities for many individuals. The paper examines sneakers resale market based the data on StockX, one of the biggest sneaker reselling platforms, literally as we know today. They're growing. There's others as well, which I will show you. Aims to identify models that predict the rational reselling prices from collectible sneakers from an investor's perspective. What is Chris? He's an investor of all things, right? Don't get it twisted. He is an investor above all things, who's happen to love sneakers, who happens to be a facilitator of those rarities, those collectibles. As you heard him say, he could easily just keep them and wear them, but he sees the value of being able to turn that into a bigger investment, right? Turning over those items to kind of keep his wealth, creation model in play or in practice, right? So very important here when you think about that, guys. So let you know, this ain't no fly by night. This ain't no fluke stuff. This is the real deal, Holyfield, right? There are people who are writing papers on this now, right? Through some kind of form of, they're putting together their thesis of why this market is legit, right? Be it a doctoral or just being whatever, they're just putting it together. So yeah, I'm gonna post this for the back chat. You guys might want to read through this, but this is really great intel, right? I got through a little bit of it. but really good information that lets you know, yeah, don't come to people house stepping just because you think they, they're your skin folk and they just supposed to cut you a deal when the market's not really relating that deal value that you're trying to get. You're paying for what you're going to get. Don't come half stepping just because it's a black man, right? Pay him his worth, right? The same way you would do it if you were getting it from a white collector, right? So when we think about, again, just the value of it, the sneaker game has made it all the way up to one of the most premier auctioneers listed on the planet. Because y'all heard me speak about Sotheby's many times. Y'all know I'm a collect a lot of different things in that mind. I know where the places where to go, where a lot of these major auctioneer houses, reside at. And Sotheby's is one of them, right? They have a very elaborate portfolio like a Berkshire Hathaway, even higher than even Berkshire Hathaway, if you think about it, right? Berkshire Hathaway just have their hands in many different things, but Sotheby's is very exquisite about what they collect, right? And so a lot of things that they offer on Sotheby's is like, you're getting 100% authenticity, and it's going to be somewhat of the creme to that regard. Of course, this auction house has been in business since 1744, right? Whether that matters or not, but they know what they know at this point. So some of the stuff they offer on Sotheby's is also in likeness to that we talked about for StockX and many others. This is that upper echelon, right? Where you would go to find that level of exclusivity, right? So look here, a lot of the stuff that they have on here, I mean, who's coming to this website, right? Right? The Kanye's and your rappers or your local local homeboy on the street that know where to go get it, right? I mean, a next level type of shopper, essentially, right? We're talking about being able to get something that's totally exclusive. And the prices of these shoes, $23,000, $23,000 for these old Nike, low Travis Scotts here, right? Some of these you could probably find them on the same value of StockX. Look at this, look at the Michael J. Fox dual sign Nike mag Back to the Future, 2011. Look at $88,000 for those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about that, right? You talk about Back to the Future, right? So with McFly, right? McFly, crazy, right? 1.4 million, right there. That's them earliest known regular season Jordan them Jordan 1s, worn and signed, right? 1.4 million. I mean, think about that, guys. It's crazy, right? And so again, just the idea of that, right? So you see the Louis Vuitton size 5, right? The Air, right? We know, Overcris spoke to that in terms of the designer, right? In itself, just now he's made a new lane for himself, because of the fact of his rarities. And so again, a lot of things on here, Coach, you can see on here where that sneaker game is very serious. It made it up to Sotheby's. If you know anything about Sotheby's, you don't come here, with $2 in your bank account. Right, that's a waste of time. Let you can do some window shopping, right? And it's okay to look through, but it's the real deal, right? So just wanted to add that to that regard, to the bill here, because some people may know, or they may have an idea, why Overcris is in a position where he can command that level of margin, and he's keeping his stuff fair value price, because there's areas where you can go to kind of see within that window what some of the seekers may or may not be going for, right? So he's 100% giving you direct, authentic, honesty value, what the market is showing you. And like I said, he's giving you the education that you're not going to get from a lot of other people, right? When they post and stuff and they're not really giving you a whole lot of backstory to it. So you don't know if you're getting getting yanked or not, right? So that in itself is great, because, he's really keeping you, in the loop. And it's giving you some that I think is very vital, especially when it comes to our side of the culture coin, because we love our sneakers. Because everything that these people are writing about in their papers or whatever, they talk about when they talk about collectible sneakers and culture of reselling. The culture has always been Black entertainment, Black fashion. We dictate the culture. Let's not play games here. We are the trendsetters. I mean, you think about Dapper Dan. Right, Gucci had to snatch him up, because he was taking their products and their fabric and turning out, clothes to celebrities, to the layman's, in a way that Gucci designers themselves, could compete with. Right, so of course they had to make a play on Dapper. Right, hey, let's see if we can find some affiliation here, or whatever. Right, that in itself is just super awesome. Right, so again, because we dictate a lot of the fashion. Right, so I think that just adding that little bit to it, to kind of going on my my rent in relation to Oprah Chris here, because he's doing something that, in my opinion, is like super, super awesome, because he's utilizing the value to show you what they call revolving investment cycles. He's taking his product value, right? Any value that he sell or profit value, he's funneling that right back into what? Another investment. He's always in the mind of what? Appreciation, 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 appreciation. See, that's a revolving door. That's how you build wealth, right? Where your money's working for you when you necessarily put, the box of sneakers down at the end of the day, guess what? He's still making money, right? He still is in a position where that money is still working for him, right? The funnel value within that is still working because some word of mouth advocacy is going forward. And they saying, yeah, man, I saw the brother's page the other day, and he got all type of J's on there. Who knew, right? He finna get him a new customer today, right? And that's how this stuff works in that regard, right? So consistency is the name of the game. It's base hits over home runs, and it's all about what? The reinvestment program, right? Some people call it the drip dividend reinvestment program. You can call it the RIP, right? Right, RIP, right? Reinvestment, whatever, right? Program, where he's utilizing this moment to kind of move into other asset classes, right? And I'll end it there, all right? But really, really good information over, Chris. I just want to make sure I add that little extra to it as well, because people don't really know the complexity of what you really got going on here. In my opinion, a lot of people, right? When they just think you're an average shoe dealer, you're not. You're much more than that.
The local shoe dealer. Where you at, Chris?
Absolutely, Oba. Absolutely. And, got to shout out Mo, because in my business, my econ, has taught me, to be about business as well, keeping receipts, making sure you, enter in, all your information, all of the data, and, keeping a track of all that information. Because when you have a business, the IRS looks for all of that stuff, and you got to think about all the opportunities as being a business owner that you can take advantage of. Like she talked about earlier, and always talks about, your travel, your mileage, all those things are important. And, it all started with my econ. So gotta give salute to that.
Yeah, so and my econ, and you can't forget the cash flow manager.
Cash flow manager, yeah, you're right. Because I do
coming expenses. And I tell a lot of people, they always, the things that will help your business and help you get those deductions are the things that you don't want to pay for. There's many people out there, they're using subscriptions. You have a subscription for everything, but the subscriptions that matter, like a mileage log or a simple accounting system, especially if you don't know how, or you're not savvy enough to do it manually. But these are the things that prove that you're actually doing business. And so when you get audited or you are asked about business, and I'm talking about people who are expanding, doing big things, wanting to work the system of the tax deductions, and they ask, what type of accounting system are you using? You should be able to either say QuickBooks, ADP, Paycheck, Gusto, TaxSlayer books, something. You should be able to say something, cash flow manager. Why? Because it shows that you're actually monitoring your income and expenses, or your assets, liabilities, or what's coming in, as opposed to saying, what's that? I didn't know that was important. So what gives a person an indication that your business is legit? Knowing, having a particular accounting system. Now, you don't have to have this. It's just my recommendation and what gets people to pay attention to you. Having, being able to understand where your deductions come from. So like a lot of people, they rant and rave about taxes, right? And I'd be like, man, I've been in my econ since 2016. And ever since I got in my econ, and I've been tracking my income expenses, especially those expenses that are common, the car and truck expense, advertising, supplies, office supplies, office expense, travel, meal, your travel, whether it's your bills is involved, those communications, because I use my cell phone all the time. People ring my phone off the hook, right? Those 6 right there, just that alone will give you back the money you spending in taxes. Like you're using countless dollars. And so if you're not deducting just that amount, why? Because you don't want to pay the $200 to file self-employed? Are we serious? You can write that off too. I don't understand, right? So most people, and if you're making less than 20,000, then of course you should be filing a Schedule C. If you're making more than 20,000, then you probably want to move your LLC to an S corp, because you'll get better tax deductions. And we could talk about that as we go along. And that's why I'm going to start doing the Tuesdays no live type of deal again, right? Because that's where your bread and butter comes in. And so most people, I just have to start removing myself from certain conversations. I don't be wanting to be mean, but I'm like, okay, we've been live since 2000, at a minimum since 2017, giving out the do's and the don'ts, the advantages and disadvantages of owning a business. If you don't own anything, why you think all the favor is coming out towards business owners? And you know, I used to probably at some point been in that bracket where people say, oh, the elite, they don't understand all the, you know, all the business owners, they don't got that problem, this, that, or whatever. But when I start benefiting, I don't see any of that no more. I just kind of be in the corner like, they ain't talking about me. So everybody will be having tax issues. I just be like, y'all ain't get it yet. You know? And I was listening to a CPA the other day. He said, okay, you scared to invest, you think you're going to lose your money. Okay, put the money in the account anyway and just don't invest it at all. At least you won't be getting taxed on that money right now, because it'll be sitting in some type of investment account. Like, come on, are we serious? Like, what are you people thinking about? It was so funny when he said that, right? Because I get people all the time, and boy, it just kind of goes over their head. You could have kind of gradually lowered yourself into the stash debit card, or the Acorn debit card, or Robinhood, or M1. I noticed someone in the back of our investment batch chat asked about credit. I did respond because I was laughing to myself, because I said, wow, you know, I remember Chris used to post all the time about the Self app. He used to post self. And he hadn't posted it in a while. And it goes to show you how you never know who's new amongst you, or maybe just wasn't paying attention at that time, or didn't think it was significant enough to inquire. But you should always just continue to advertise different products and services that you're a part of, because somebody someday is watching. As AE just said, you know, you probably just earn yourself some sales based off of all, you know, the publicity or the advertisement of your company and the different. As a matter of fact, I sent my friend, and like, I was like, did you see those sneakers that Chris just posted? Those are size 12s. He just showed, he already got them on hand. You know, but it just goes to show you how you hang around like-minded people, you get all this wealth of information. And oh my God, you know, African Emporium, just I'd be trying to figure out like how he get all this information in his head, and he just keep it, and it just keeps going and on and on. But anyway, I'm glad he's my friend. Or whatnot.
I'm Bantu. I keep saying we peers, we gonna get this knowledge and this money together.
You know, and I'm ecstatic on how how everybody has grown over the years and over time, and how you're able to offer such knowledge, information. I remember Chris first, was getting into it, and he would talk, but he would just be talking mad trash and want to beat people up on the streams. But then now you hear Chris talk, man, he's just business oriented. He has this thing streamlined. He can talk the talk. He can tell you where to go, how to go, why he doing what he doing. As A just said, there's a difference in buying from Chris and buying from another shoe vendor. Why? Because he could tell you why, how, what's going on with it, and all this stuff they just talked about. And I was just like in awe. Like, I didn't even know.
As we like to say, what, why, where, when.
Yes. What
fundamentals and the technical. See, that's what
Yeah.
separates every great business owner, right? That you can take that sale from it just being okay. I got a product, you got a demand. We could facilitate the sale, but when you get that education, when you get the understanding of how things came about, that makes people, again, it helps build that funnel like we spoke about. So you're right in exact, Sister Monica.
Oh yes, like he got it. He's all over it. And I would recommend you if you're interested. Now, here's what I want people to understand, especially as we go through these next few weeks, and we talk to individuals who are in business and have really organically, as AE put up, created a funnel for themselves, and making business work for them. It's lucrative. They're profiting, they're increasing their network. Is that it's not a Michael. We say it all the time, and our Ujau says this a lot. It's not microwavable. But guess what? If you start somewhere and you trust the process, you do your due diligence, you stay amongst stay to know with individuals who are in that industry. Maybe you want to participate in some trade shows. Maybe you want to go to that industry conferences, get into the know of what's going on. Then guess what? You too will be a year out or 18 months out like Chris is, and you will be able to brag on your profits. Like, that's a beautiful thing. How do you feel, Chris? Like, when your numbers start going up, because I heard what you said you made last year. I'm still hating on that number. And I was like, he's doing the damn thing. Like, okay, Chris, I see you with the sneakers. And then, people will sit back and they'll see vendors like, people who go to the flea market, or maybe people who doing online sales, and you would sit back and you'd think like, wow, these people not doing anything. I remember, I think it was Marquise talked about selling Xboxes or something like that on eBay or something, right? Reselling that stuff and how much money he's making. And so you sit back and you're looking, you're like, wow, are they really making money? Or you would downplay it. Let's take it from a relationship perspective, right? So I run across this fella, he's talking about I'm selling sneakers. And be like, oh, okay, and you would think that, okay, this dude, that fella ain't got no money, huh? And you'll be surprised because that person probably sitting in the corporate world full of debt, right? Got a nice job, but he's full of debt. But that person, that entrepreneur out there, got his business doing this thing, making profits, you downplaying because he's an entrepreneur and you over there going for carpet and he the one making the money, right? And not only is he making it, he knows how to invest for his future so that he can have money stored up. So he's investing in cash producing assets that's going to be revolving and making him more money. Like, wow, like we really, really have to sit back and process. So I want people to sit back, when you're listening to the lives, whether you listen to AE lives on African Emporium's channel, whether it's one or two, or you listen to Urban Economic Empowerment Show for wherever I'm live streaming at, or you listening to someone else out there, right? Think about your business and the information that they're saying and how can it enhance your business. What in these nuggets, whether you're taking it from advertising perspectives, you're taking the e-commerce and you're taking the technology. Like, one of the things I'm getting ready to do, you guys know, I think maybe 2 years ago or right before the pandemic, I was talking a lot about the feeding programs. And so the program that we're creating now, we're going to use QR codes and an app and QR codes to try to eliminate the paper trail, right? Because that kind of gets caught up in this whole fraudulent thing and all that great stuff, right? So we can use QR codes to scan every time someone get a meal. It would help keep accountability for that. The data would be ready and available. You don't have to work for somebody to count it, all that great stuff, right? So I reached out to Ujao because he just put his app out for his university. So I was like, yo, did you create your own app? And if so, are you interested in creating one for us? So as we see our brothers and sisters out there have these great business ventures going on or have these gifts and talents, I think someone, when they talk about buy from your own, these are the areas that I look at to get with my own peers and their gifts and knowledge in reference to business, whether it's building apps, whether it's making websites more user-friendly to the audience, everybody should have a website these days because they offer free domains. Now, if you want to get all jazzy and take payments and things of that nature, you have to upgrade to the premium. But for starters, you could create a free website and you could do it yourself because they got templates. All you got to do is change the name, upload your logo, add your product, and boom, you in there. Or, you can use your social medias as well, but you can integrate them in, So it's, oh my God, these are the think tank times that I like to be a part of. I definitely appreciate Chris. You got any closing remarks? I don't want to make the video very long because I want people to actually be able to go and listen to some of the things you said and AE said that will help them jog their mind to ask you questions in your inbox.
So I would say in closing, as you said, and over AE said, being in the right circle around the right people, that you can, share information, share ideas. As Oba AE always says, Ubuntu, I am because we are. Once you have a circle like that, everybody, becomes successful, in their own endeavors and, endeavors together. So I would just say, find you, like you used to say, Mo, find you a team in whatever year it is. And, stick with that team and grow.
You say find one, Chris, no matter what year it is. Huh?
Yeah.
Because we keep graduating with the years, right? So I got the new one, right? Get you a crew in 2022.
There you go.
Get you a crew in 2022.
Right on.
Right
on.
That's a shirt moment right there.
That's a shirt.
Yeah. T-shirt moment. T-shirt.
Oh, and speaking of shirts, man, shout out to Andre, man, brother Andre. With Passport Global. Because I was wearing a lot of my shirts in my one of his shirts in my videos, showing us different shoes. So shout out to that brother, man. And I actually look up to him too, because he's a premier investor, man. Love Andre, all the knowledge he drops.
Yeah. Definitely. So I'm gonna have to get all y'all in here one by one, so y'all can share your beautiful businesses and how you guys are doing it and your processes, and hopefully, someone hit you up. This is all about, I used to think about phases of my life and like at what point because like some people say, oh man, we don't have no more elders, and I've been watching, like I watch a lot of the Nigerian movies and they have like their council. And, anytime they get ready to make a decision, the king, they bring in the council and all that, and everybody together. I was like, man, at what point, you should actually start sharing your knowledge and teaching your knowledge as far as you being a parent, whatever phases that you are. And so, you have your younger people, the teens are under, and then you have your 20-year-olds, your 30-year-olds, you have 40-years. So I think like once you get to like your 40s, you should be advising the younger who are coming underneath you, because some people, once they're in their 40s, they probably have, if they're working on a job, they've got at least 20 plus years or 15 plus years under their belt. Let's say 10 plus years of working knowledge under their belt. And so I was doing some research because I'm thinking about putting some classes together for some transitioning college students or the students in general. And I noticed AE where they have it used to be knowledge, skills, and abilities. When you were getting ready to transition from the military to civilian life, and you put your resume together, these are, if you apply for a job, any DOD job, they'll have your knowledge, skills, and abilities that they are asking you questions on. But now I notice they're saying knowledge, skills, and behavior.
And that's interesting too, because, given the back, drop of what's been going on for the military in terms of how it is evolved on the back end of all the, the PSTD and the PS post-traumatic traumatic stress, the PTSD. I'm talking about PSTD. I'm thinking about mother PMCS check. But the ideal of that now is because, again, a lot of veterans, of course, when I came out, of course, I came out before you did, but just, how the military has morphed since then, right? Being able to kind of really compartmentalize a lot of the skill sets that come along with a service member, right? And how that transfers into the civilian sector, right? Even from college credits, of course, you went through that. I'm sure you did on the education side. You already got so many credits just by your training you get from the military. That's, university will accept right out the gate, right? And from a litany of different programs, of course, if you go into a certain program in college, right, whatever your degree is, so to speak, right? But that behavior aspect of it is very interesting. When you think about it, right? On the grand scheme of things in that regard. So, but yeah, we might want to build on that one day. Maybe speak to that. Maybe we can get some military personnel in too that's still got boots on the ground as well, or who may be getting ready to transition. Of course, because my household is close to that at some point. We right up in that in its own right, and that's another conversation. We were just having a conversation literally the other day about where we at in that. Do we go a little further, right? Because she's close to getting the full bird, right?
Ooh, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's literally just one school away, because this stuff, Sister Monica, with B not A not up that chain, same way it's on that with non-commission side and the commission side, right? But it's literally one away from that, that's it, and that's great, because you think about it culturally when we say our people being in places and spaces. Think about that, how many you see, how many Black women literally you see carrying that, and most time we see that when you see these prestigious people on TV, or this is so and so of the Navy, and that the few Black women we've seen recently who made that kind of little pinnacle, right? When they made it to those high seats, and admirals and this, that, and the third, which is to be celebrated, because again it offers that level of inspiration for those youngers, right? And where you can still be yourself and be in those spaces, right? You didn't have to convert everything about you to be part, in that, right? Your skills got you there. And so you can retain your culture intact, is my point. Y'all get what I'm saying without me having to say it, right?
You better.
Yeah, I gotta say that because y'all know what it's like. Because y'all know me, right? Because look, I'm not the most perfect being on the planet, in that regard, and I will say this, but having that level, like we talk about the ideal of funnels, of being with, being able to add value to one another, right? Not just from a homebound perspective, but on a culture side of things. That's why programs like this exist, right? It's called urban economic empowerment. Now, the value of what we're doing here collectively is not only sedentary for urban expansion, right? We want to reach our people, but we're bigger than just an urban environment, right? Well, I sell something to anybody, right? Right, of course, right? Don't get it twisted. I'm sure over Chris as well, right? You as well. So your services expand more than just our people, but the extent or the direct value of the messaging is detailed for a lot of our people, because we need funnels, quote unquote funnels, to help us be able to facilitate information better, right? People to unpack it for you, so you don't feel pressured and stressed when you go into other places to get it, and they're not trying to railroad you or take advantage of you. That's why this channel exists, right? That's why this channel exists. So I say hats off to everybody who realizes that. And again, we're speaking about the idea that we can have Black professionals in places where we can commingle with people who are up, on their journey, right? Does not make them less than, they're just on their journey, right? Everybody's time is sometimes different. That's life, right? But it doesn't negate that person's interest level. As I like to say, there's no such thing as permanent this or permanent that. There's only permanent interest. Your interests are what gets you out of bed every day, right? That's what keeps you hungry, right? Without that, of course, you are you're a dead man walking, right? So shout out to people who have, interest-driven, hunger and passion. Stay on that journey, stay on that path, and you'll get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just want to thank y'all, though. Thank y'all and appreciate y'all for everything.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
Ubuntu.
Peace, Power, Prophet. Thank you guys for tuning in the chat. Those who came through. Let me see if I can give me some shout outs. Deshaun Shepherd, thank you for coming on through here. Brother Mathis, Brother Sar, the Great. Thank you for chiming in on the chat. What's new? Peace, Power, and Prophet to all of you all who offered this information. Coffee, Brown, JKA. Thanks for the cash out. Hey, Brother EAE. Thanks for the super chat. And Marquise, Thanks for the super chat, showing love. Brother Kevin Johnson for the Cash App. Thank you very much, Sonny. Who else we got? Everything is everything. Six Fingers. Jay Van Hey, Jay Van I ain't seen you in a long while. Who else we got? Marquise, Rich B. Let's see. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you, Marquise. Thank you for the super chat. Brandon, of course, those who are on the panel. Thank you all for tuning in. DeAndre, thanks to you as well. Brother African Emporium, you well, I don't know. I went beyond my little 2 hours by 16 minutes.
No, this is great. But this, in itself, this is what we build on, because it's another form of macroeconomics. It's a form of micro and macroeconomics, right? All wrapped up into one, because it's speaking to the ideal of what? The ideal of the investment side of this, right? The business aspect of this, income producing assets, right? Mm-hmm. Business management, right? I mean, you literally touch every portion of that and then some, which is great, because again, what better is, moment that we can speak about in this time is, and we're dealing with what current events that are plaguing certain people, right? So he's showing you how he's navigating his business during this so-called downtime in the economy, right? Given the fact that we got a negative GDP number that came out today, right? A negative 1.6. Last quarter we had negative 1.5. So technically we are in a
recession.
In a recession. Now y'all notice how they skipped over saying that a lot today on a lot of these news medias. They
basically ignored those numbers.
I said, look at these rats. Okay, they're gonna play that game. All right, but again, we know what's going on. I'll just say that we know what's going on. But yeah, so what I'll do, of course, like I said, I was just gonna speak to the ideal of stocks. But like I said, I don't want to make this longer than it was, because this was a very potent scenario. Mm-hmm. If anything, we'll close this one out and start another one. We can just run it straight back on the same channel here, because I don't want to do nothing special on my side. Just, at this point, we can just speak about the market in terms of where we are, give it a quick little moment, brush over, and we can get on out of here. But I do want to end this on a high note, and I think we need to cut this one here, because this was great information, right? Because I will be downloading this myself and putting it in my archives.
Yes. Okay. So y'all want me to start another one? Send the link?
Yes. Okay. And then we'll just speak strictly about, market value and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. All right. Peace, power, and profit, everybody. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks.
Power and profit.
Peace, power, and profit.